Hi FlossTube, my name is Geraldine, my pronouns are she, her, and this is Jer X Stitches, my YouTube channel about crafty things. It is, I don't even know, December 9th, Saturday morning. I've already been up and done a little bit of stitching, and I just wanted to do my weekly Flossmas check-in. See how you all are doing, update you on the projects that I've been working on over the last week, and all of those kinds of things. This week has been quite busy for me. Work's been busy. We had my daughter's Christmas concerts, both of them. She plays the cello and she plays the trumpet. So the junior high had well, it wasn't really combined. They did the band first and then the orchestra after. So we were there for we got there at about 5:30 and we were there till 9. So 3.5 hours between both concerts and the waiting in between and all of those things. But it was really fun to see them play and the progress that they've made. She's been playing the cello for 3 years now. They do like practice videos that they have, they're tested on. And she got first chair cello, which I was very proud. It was so fun to see her up there front and center, right in front of the conductor. And we sat a little bit closer than we normally do. Usually we sit up on the second level so that we can kind of see her no matter where she's sitting. But we sat a little bit closer, so I was actually able to like watch her play, which is really fun. For some reason, she doesn't enjoy playing for us like when we're home. She would prefer to practice when we're not around. So that was just really cool to see. And she plays the trumpet as well. She loves the trumpet. And our seats were pretty good to watch her play that as well. So all in all, it was a good evening. I didn't get much stitching done yesterday though. We had a Christmas work party, one of several that I will go to. This one was my group of clinical nurse specialists that I'm a part of. So we all have different teams, leadership teams that we sit within. We don't report to the same person, but we are a very close-knit group because our jobs are so similar, but with different expertise. We lean on each other a lot, and so it's a really great tight-knit group. We had an awesome turnout. It was really fun. We did a white elephant exchange. I finished a pair of socks on my circular sock machine for the giveaway. They were a hot item, which was really exciting. I got lots of orders for more, and people explaining to me why they would take priority over another person. So we will maybe get there at some point. I'm pretty new in this circular sock machine journey, so I've got lots of time to hone my skills, get a little bit faster, and make lots of pairs of socks. So I'm sure we will get to them eventually. Yeah, those were the big things I think that happened. I have some finishes to show you. I have some progress on my Advent type things and some other projects, some socks, a gnome. So I don't have my socks with me that I've been working on. My Freckled Whimsy 24 stripe Advent. I did not grab those, so I will update you next week on those. And if you follow me on Instagram, I've been posting every few days. I am a couple days behind now on them. I knit in between the 2 concerts yesterday, got a couple rows in, but it's just been busy and my evenings aren't as full of time as I thought. I have a little bit of haul I want to share. My first is Mary Stitchmas shirt. I got this from Buttermilk Basin. It just came in the mail today, so I think they might still have some. It shipped fairly quickly, so I ordered this maybe like the beginning of this week or last weekend. So if that's something you're interested in. It was hard to tell on the website what color the shirt material was. It is white. I thought maybe it was like the light gray or like a cream. So just so you know, it's a white t-shirt. It's super fun. So Merry Stitchmas. Okay, where do we start? The Jingle Ball. I attended the Jingle Ball last weekend. I didn't do, again, we had an event Friday, so spent most of the day knitting, working on finishes, attending my finishing class, and like had Jingle Ball going during that time. Watched a few of the meet and greets with the designers. So I think I watched Jeanette Douglas's. I know I watched more Jenny McGowan's. don't remember. And then we had some other stuff going on Sunday, so I didn't attend the 2 free classes. I did watch back Beth Twist's jar free class. That was pretty short. I think it was only about a half hour, so that was easy to catch up on. I'm like halfway through Satsuma Street's Jody Rice's class on paper ornament or perforated paper ornament finishes. I think we got through like the meat and potatoes of it. It never occurred to me to actually use paper as a backing, so that was interesting. And I think she's talking a little bit more about embellishments, so I need to catch up on that probably today before that access isn't available anymore. Yeah. Okay, so finishes. My first finish, I was working on this the last time. So this is a finish and then a fully finish, or maybe I had finished it since I last filmed, I don't remember, but this is Cardinal Kin, and this is the Katie Strachan silk kit that she did. I switched up a few things. I switched around the color of the leaves because I just wanted like that brighter green to be the primary leaf color instead of the lighter. And I used the satin backing that was included in my finishing kit. I did get the beads as well. And all in all, it was a pretty good finish. The beads were easy. Beads weren't too complicated. I sewed the back on 3 times, and I got really lucky that it didn't show on the satin when I picked my stitches. That was user error. It was the first thing I did Saturday morning with no coffee. So lesson learned. And I think, I'm used to quilting and sewing. So when I stitched it, so the satin is slippery, right? So the first time it slipped on me when I put it on the machine, and I didn't have enough margin on one side, but I had already like sewn a little bit before I remembered. So I ripped it out, or I realized. So I ripped it out. And then when I put it back together, I got like 2 sides sewn and realized that I had forgotten to double check again that I had right sides together. And with satin as opposed to cotton, it's a lot less obvious. But you would notice in the finish for sure, because it's a little bit more matte on the inside than this like shiny, beautiful satin backing. So I picked my stitches again, and of course that time I had decided that I wanted to make my stitches smaller, so the picking was even harder the second time around. Third time was a charm. I got it all right. I used some of those like little clips instead of pins to make sure it all stayed where it needed to go, and then stuffed it with walnut shells, did my beading, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the finish. So I did see someone else who had finished it like Katie did, and they spaced the beads a little bit closer together. I wish I would have counted my kit beads and maybe calculated a little bit better like how they would to just get a little bit more sparkle around the edge, but I'm happy with this finish nonetheless. And that was Cardinal Kin by Plum Street, and I did that on Katie's called for kit ingredients. So sorry, I probably should have included that part. So this is Legacy Linen Druid Blue, and then the silk conversion are all Gobelins and Avera Soie 103s, and there's one, the Surfine, the white is Surfine with accentuate doubled, which is how Katie likes to do the sparkle. Using the silk with the accentuate helps to work with the accentuate a little bit easier. So that gets you a little bit of sparkle. And I really enjoyed this kit, but the conversion is exclusive to the kit, so Katie does not share those. All right, my next one is another project that you've seen before, but it's my finish. So this is my Candy Cane Biscornu from the Blue Flower, and this was the class that I chose to attend at the Jingle Ball. So I did get the kit. So the flosses are DMC from the kit. The pins came from Putini from it within the kit as well, and the bead, I think or not the bead, the button is Jabco, I believe. I think those are available, Janine said, from them, but there was one, the snowflake, and then there was a like a peppermint one, so I chose the snowflake for this piece. There were 2 versions of the Biscornu. One is monochromatic with a variegated candy cane exclusive cottage garden threads floss, and I chose to do the colored ones. So I probably chose the harder option actually, because when you have to count, and this, it was fine. We won't get into it again. I'm not going to relive my candy cane debacle. And then she had us backstitch in red and then use white to close, and it gives you this like candy cane finish, but it also really helps you see where you've stitched, where you've flubbed up, and so it's good for learning for the first time around. So I thought that was a really fun idea to kind of give us a way to learn easily, but then it still looked decorative when we were done. So I actually had a lot of fun doing this. It was a really fun finish, and like learning that this method of putting pieces together you can do for anything. So I do have another, it's not a whip because I'm finished with the first pattern, but the Plum Street Saltbox House series, I have a plan to make a cube with all of those. So it gave me a little bit of like, I want to get back to those, but that will probably happen next year. But essentially you can make any shape by backstitching and then stitching like this. I think I've seen patterns that are like gingerbread houses or other houses that you stitch all the sides and then you put them together and stuff them. So that's a really neat idea. I did choose to use a different linen. This is 36 count grunge from Roxy Floss Co. I just didn't want to stitch 2 strands, to be completely honest. The one that came in the kit was 32 count, and it had like little printed stars on it. It's really cute fabric. Like I said, I just didn't want to stitch 2 threads, and it made the finishing a little bit more difficult. It was a little bit harder to see and grab each individual backstitch. So I would recommend, if you're doing your bisque corner for the first time, go a little bit bigger in your linen count. It might be a little bit easier, but this wasn't difficult. It was just, it's easy once you understand how it works, essentially. But really fun, and I'm going to put this back in my little Christmas stitching display. My third finish is not cross stitch, but knitting. So I opened the first Nicole C. Mendez Advent box skein of yarn. So she, instead of doing like a 1 Advent stripe for like the whole season, she does 4 100-gram skeins. You open one a weekend. It's supposed to be Sunday, but I did it last Friday so I could, because I couldn't wait, and also so I could get the socks done over the weekend, which I did. So I made 3 socks last weekend. I made this pair and then one for the sock that I gifted yesterday, and then I made the next one one night this week. Anyway, so I opened that skein and I made these socks. I didn't gauge swatch because I assumed the yarn was pretty similar. I probably should have gauge swatched. So they're a little bit big. They're still comfortable. I've worn these. They actually need to go in the laundry. I usually wear them about 2, because it's wool. They don't wear like man-made synthetic socks. So anyways, they're a little stretched out and they need to go, and they haven't been blocked either. I just wore them right off the machine. So they need to go in the wash today, but I wanted to show you before I did that. I wash my nylon wool blend socks on cold with my dark colors. I put them in a lingerie bag to kind of collect them so that I make sure, so it's easy, mostly because then it's easier to pull them out together when I put the rest of my laundry in the dryer. Then I lay them flat to dry. I don't block them on the blockers. This is just a better way to tell you. If you look really close, you'll notice the stripes go the opposite direction. So the first sock that I did was trying out my very first toe up sock. So you cast on with your waste yarn, and then you automatically go into doing a wedge. Then you like pull, once you have that wedge complete, you pull the circle across and cast on those stitches, and then you start your foot. That was quite complicated. I had to redo the toe a couple times because it was not wide enough to stretch across the machine. And the whole idea with that is then when you there's like no sewing, like you pull the sock complete off your machine. So you go toe up, you do your heel, you do your leg, and then there's like a fancy way to use your latch tool to cast off your edge, which also, I mean, it was my first time. I need to give myself a little grace, but it didn't turn out as well. It's definitely a lot more bumpy than like this is when you knit cuff down what your hung hem looks like. So it's a lot smoother and more professional looking. So I just didn't enjoy doing the toe up sock. So I was going to try to do a whole pair toe up, give myself a little bit of extra practice to like see if I really don't like it, but I was just it took so much longer. I was pretty frustrated that I just decided that I would do it the normal way. So the stripes are going the opposite way because I started at the top of the cuff and went down instead of the toe up. So they're like, I wouldn't even say they're like fraternal twins. They're probably cousins. I'm not even sure they're siblings. So, but when you're wearing them, you just notice that they're stripes in the same color. So they're really fun. I wore them quite a bit, and then I will wash them. So, okay, let's just stick with knitting for a hot second and look at my whips for knitting. Like I said, I'm working on the Freckled Whimsy 24 stripe advent. I'm trying to keep it a secret for myself, but we all got our skeins where we had two 50-gram skeins that started at the same point so that we would have matching socks when we started if we wanted to do two at a time. However, everyone's socks started at a different point because I'm assuming the 100 grams will end at a different point, right? And so she wouldn't waste whatever length of yarn to like start everyone at the same spot. So I've seen a little bit of a preview of the colors that other people have had because they've posted on Instagram, which is okay. I think because they're all around the same spot as I'm at, like it doesn't give away the whole pattern or anything. The colors are great. I'm disappointed that I didn't grab them to show you. They actually match the bag that I just happened to pick for them, which I had no idea because I had my mother-in-law skein everything up for me so that I wouldn't have my surprise ruined at all. So it's been really fun stitching those. The other knitting project, and this is why this has been a little overwhelming, I should have known better than to do two at a time. So I'm doing 2 socks at one time. So that's about 16 rows of sock knitting if I stay on track a day, plus then off and on gnome knitting. So Imagine Landscapes, for quite a few years now, she has done, Sarah Shira, she has done a gnome along during December. And I am still behind. So today's clue, I'm like partway through. I started this morning as soon as it came out. But I have what I think are a gnome nose and snowman arms to make from the second knitting clue way back on December 3. So those are on my list for this weekend. I'm hoping, usually we don't have knitting 2 days in a row, but it's a weekend, so I don't know. But I'm hoping between today and tomorrow I can get caught up, finish this snowman, which I'll show you. He doesn't look like much now because he's not stuffed, but he gets completely finished and stuffed today. And then there's some surface embroidery to do on him, but I think I will wait to do the surface embroidery until I kind of know what the rest of what the gnome looks like, what the rest of the things look like, because my color choices and like how I want to do the design. She has it where it's like a snowflake stitched kind of at a diagonal on like off to the sort of off center of his body. And I was thinking I might want to do like more of a Scandinavian design where it's like centered and like symmetrical with like the main snowflake and then 2 on the side. So, but I don't know what he's going to look like or like have his face on yet. So I mean, that you do after it's stuffed. So I can 100% wait to do that until I know what he's going to look like. But I'm also considering whether or not I want to block him before I stuff him because my stitches are kind of meh, especially where like the increases are. But I made the hat a couple days ago and I did block the hat, and so his brim is better, but then he's been squished with the knitting. So I don't know if I think I did the right number of rows. It seems a little shorter than Sarah's. It's not quite so tall, but it's pretty good. You can see where like this is like the decreases and increases for his neck. So when he's stuffed, he'll have like a rounded head and then a body underneath. So I've got probably 12 more rows of the body to knit before I do the decreases to finish him and then stuff. So that will get done today or tomorrow, but that's fun. I'm assuming there's a gnome still because this is clearly a snowman and not a gnome, and so that's fun that we kind of get like 2 little figures for that. So more to come with that one as the month goes on. Okay. So of course, anyone who knows me knows that I'm of course doing the holiday countdown Sal put on by Evertote, Modern Folk Embroidery, and Roxy Floss Co. I have this in the bag that I made for the box last year, and I put the ornament that came in day one on as a zipper pull for now. I just used a bulb stitch marker to hold it on the zipper because the ribbon wouldn't go through the size zipper that I had on this bag. So by the time I post this, it will be past the like 12 p.m. Central or Eastern spoiler time frame where Caroline has asked us to not post anything until afternoon for that day because I have done my stitching. I got up this morning, and I think because I've had to wait almost every day since the box started because of work and everything, I wanted to like get up, open it, and just stitch right away, which was really nice with my coffee this morning. So the house was nice and quiet, and I watched Caroline and Jacob's videos, and then while I did my stitching. So we are on date. We've completed day 9. So we have like our little like graph to like write down our floss names. And like each of the days has like a little thing on the back or the front, whatever you consider, where there's like a little extra gift and a photo, and they're all really fun. They're like antique photos or prints and just fun. On the December 7th, we got an extra Hanukkah chart. My friend Whitney stitched that chart already and posted her finish, so she did that day's work and the Hanukkah chart, which was really cool. It's like 70 by 80-ish, so I mean, it's pretty impressive. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I love the colors. I have ordered every 5 days they're releasing the flosses. The first 5 flosses, from what I could tell on the website, all look like they're one of a kinds. So I ordered enough of those, which really surprised me because I kind of thought that this blue color would stick around, but anyways, all of them are beautiful, and I would love all of them to be in the main collection, but I guess they've got to have something to try and redo similar to and keep things going. So yeah. So I've ordered extras of the first 4, and I think because of the response to the extra flosses last year, they made sure they had extra this year. And last year's, the reason that I wanted extras was because last year's, I love those colors too, a lot of those colors, and I've used that palette to do more like Christmas conversions this year, so, or holiday conversions this year. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to have a few, just to be able to do that. So here are the colors so far. They are gorgeous. Carrie, when she was talking about them on her and Caroline's Beyond Two Whips floss tube back in the spring or summer when she was working on dyeing them, she called it, she was trying to explain, and she's like, it's not muted Christmas because they're like saturated colors, but like they're not like, and so she called it dirty Christmas, which I thought was really funny, and they are. I mean, it was, while it's a little bit of an odd way to describe it, they kind of are just like subtly dirty. This color, Sommelier, is the first one that Caroline has said she wants it to be a part of the standard collection. And it's like, to me, I haven't compared them yet, but just from my memory, it's like Falou Red, Vixen, and Tuesday had a baby. So it's like a little bit dirty, a little bit more like cherry wine than like wine. The color's not coming through well on the screen. It's a gorgeous color, and I'm working on the Light of Winter, and I had picked a color for the conversion that I did that wasn't quite different enough, and I was going to put Vixen in its place, and I might try Sommelier instead. So I was excited for that color especially, but they're all, I mean, I love them all. They're all gorgeous. Even the pinks, which pink isn't like my first go-to color, they're really beautiful. So let me pick my little pin stitch snips that I'm really bad about putting in my Ort container. I'll pick those off and then I'll show you what I've got here. So if you haven't opened your kit, you should stop the video and come back later, because again, December 9 spoilers are in here. So here is where I am so far. We are almost down to the bottom. This color Sommelier had some extra stitches in the middle that Caroline recommended that we don't complete yet if we don't want to do all that counting, so I decided not to count. So far, knock on wood, the counting has gone very well. I haven't found any mistakes. It's been, even though there's more counting than I would normally like, it's been a good challenge for me to like learn how to check my stitches and get better at that. And it's not been bad. There's been fairly easy references to go off of for the most part. So today's stitching was around this light pink, the on point color, to kind of complete those two snowflakes on each side, and then these two little square motifs that I'm sure will be a building block for further stitching maybe soon. We'll see. I'm excited to kind of see where, like, I'm assuming there's like got to be more fill in here. So, and like these plants don't have any flowers or trees or whatever they are. So I'm excited to kind of see where all that goes. And yeah, the design is really unique, and I like it. So yeah, this is our needle minder from this year. And then this is last year's needle minder, which Caroline actually dug out of the Evertote workshop recesses for, I think she wasn't even sure she had one, but she did find one. I had mine from last year. I'm 99.9% sure it fell in the couch. I remember it happening and it like clicking, and I'm like, I could like hearing it like snap to the metal part of the couch. Like, I'll get that later. Once I've now, that happened like last winter. I flipped over my couch 3 or 4 times, gotten a flashlight out, dug around, jammed my hands in places. It's not in there. I can't find it. If it's in there, I can't find it. So luckily Caroline dug one up for me, and I was able to get one at Jacobpalooza, which was awesome because I love that needle minder, and I love the memories of the countdown, and kind of like needle minders are sort of like one of the things that I like to collect. So I have, I think, all of them from Evertote. So even the ones from before it was stitching, so which is fun. Okay, other countdown things for stitching is, and I'm behind on this one because I need to do today's and yesterday's, but like by the time we got home from the concerts and I sat down to do what didn't seem like that much stitching but did require a little bit of counting and thinking, it was 11 before I was done stitching, and so I just went to bed. So this is Erica Michaels Christmas Countdown. This was a Jingle Ball exclusive last year that I purchased, and then it was released this year, so it should be available to you if you're interested in stitching it. Lindy Stitches, Steph Webb did it last year, and I'm copying her idea, in which she kind of did the design along the edges, and then she stitches a number for each day. I think she stitched it 1, 2, 3, 4, so it matched the day of the month. I chose to stitch mine as a countdown, so it's like 25. I started with 25, so like 25 days till Christmas, 24, that jazz, all that. Ooh, see, I thought this would work well, and this is not a good back for this. We'll do this. And here it is so far. So I have 18 and 17 to do. The 20s, they're not bad. It's not that many stitches, but they're bigger numbers than the rest of them are smaller, so they'll be real quick to stitch. But this has been a fun stitch. This is on 20 Count Ada by Roxy Flosscoat's Turtle Dove, which is actually the color of the countdown fabric this year. And it's a nice switch. I have not stitched on Ada since I started stitching 2 years ago. I don't love, if I had to pick the look of the finished piece, I would prefer linen over Ada, which is why I mostly stitch on linen. But it's a really nice break from counting your threads and counting your stitches that you have to do when you stitch with linen. So it's just a really nice, like, no thinking, cozy stitch. And it's just a quick, like, check off the box. But because it's quick, I feel like it's easier for me to be like, I'll catch up tomorrow. So I want to keep going. I don't want to put it off. And I think I talked about this last time, but my plan is to put it in a frame with something magnetic behind it so that I can use like a holiday themed magnet or stitch marker or something to like mark the days and count them down as we go. So that will be fun to have done at the end of the year. So I will work on that today, get it caught up, and just keep going on it. I'm just gonna tuck this away so I don't lose my floss and then put the rest later. Okay, so I started both Winter Rose Manor and the Light of Winter the end of sometime in November, beginning of December. I've not touched those this week, even though I've wanted to. I have this piece that I'm going to show you next has really been calling to me. This is a piece that I started after Christmas in July. It's a Katie Strachan Christmas in July kit. It is in this beautiful bag by, and I forgot her name, but I know there's a tag. There it is. Sheba Designs. I love poinsettias and like these colors for Christmas, like the teals and the reds and the greens are my thing. So I got this at Stitch North from her booth this year. I have a couple of her bags and they are wonderful. My whole bag of floss, or my box of floss, just fell and busted open, and they seem to be relatively contained, but that's no fun. I just wanted to show you the front of the bag because it is pretty. And I do, her vinyl front bags I like more than the vinyl front bags I make myself. So I prefer to make, I have made vinyl front, but I prefer to make myself fabric bags. But these are really great. They're nice and sturdy. Okay, so again, this is a Katie Strachan conversion of Santa Stops Here by Brenda Gervais. It is on 38 count Himalayan Fog, which came in the kit with all the finishing, well, not all the finishing, but with the beads and the ribbon and all of the silk for finishing. So it came with quite a few spools of either Goblin's Accentuate Surfing or 103, again, depending on how you're stitching, like what thing you're stitching. And then it also came with a few threads on a card because like the snowman's nose and Santa's buckle only really requires less than one strand of floss. So she switched those out, I'm assuming, to like make the kits less expensive so that you're not paying for a spool of floss you're really only using a little bit of. And she did some modifications too. So I'll show you her picture and then I'll show you Brenda's original. So she pulled out the trees here, which I think I'm going to keep from a Brenda's original because I don't want to stitch all of that white solid, and I feel like the trees give a little bit more interest and they tie to some of her other pieces like Winter Rose Manor that has those too. And then she took the candy canes out from over here and put a tree in instead. I'm not quite sure what I'll do there yet, but I do like the little bird. So I'm not married to the candy cane, but I like the bird, so I might add a tree and then put the bird in a tree somehow. So she just put a tree there instead. And then the other big change, which I did do, was she took the candy house sign off and moved the wreath down. And then, so part of the work that I need to do maybe this weekend is fill in those bricks, sort of using Katie's model as a pattern to like figure out how to stitch those fill-in bricks and still make it look speckled and cohesive, because there's like four different colored bricks in the house. But this piece, like, do you ever like get mad that you have other stitching to do because you really just want to be doing this? I mean, I have really enjoyed my countdown. It's mostly the knitting that suffered because I've really wanted to put some good progress into this. I have been stitching in a Q-snap within a lap stand, and I've been because for a couple of reasons. With the silk, I've been really trying to do two-handed stitching because when I use the sewing method with the silk, I feel like it doesn't quite look as neat, but it just takes more time to stitch. For me, I'm slower two-handed than I am sewing method, and so it's just been a little bit of a slower stitch. So I haven't made the progress that I wanted to make in it because I really enjoy the process. I really enjoy stitching with silk, but I also want to finish and move on to the other fun things that I want to stitch. So I think that the draw of this to me was I love the pattern. I've enjoyed stitching it. I finished Cardinal Kin, which was in silk, and I wanted that again. So I think that's why. But I'll stop talking about it and like actually show you my stitching. Hey. So here is how far I am. So I think since you've seen this, I don't even know when the last time I would have showed it, maybe on a whip parade or my November update. I got the border all the way across and up. I got quite a few more of the holly berries, cranberries, whatever they are in. Filled in Santa a little bit. Like, I think I got some more detail in here. And then really I spent a lot of time on the house. So I brought the house over and then up because I made a boo-boo. And like in here, I started the windows one stitch too close to the tree. And I had the window, I had stitched like the windows and the door to like get the wreath in because I was really worried about getting the wreath where it needed to go. And I realized I was one stitch short. So, and because of the way the roof is outlined and I wanted it, the wreath to still be centered, I didn't want the house to be like one stitch too narrow on one side, I cut a row off, sort of, I had to piecemeal this together because I had some blocks already stitched. So to avoid picking stitches, I kind of piecemealed this edge together. I need to continue up with like making it one row short on this side. This side, I just made all of these bricks on this side of the house one short. And then in Brenda's pattern, the house will ends with the snow, but because of the trees and having enough space down here and it like hitting the border, I'm just gonna have 2 extra snow rows, columns, I should say, over here. But because this is open over here, I think that will be okay. So that's my plan to fix it. And I think all in all, it was a fairly easy solution. So moral of the story is I wanted to get that roof up to the roof and get that all figured out, because the longer I wait, the harder it will be for me to remember what I did. So I really should do the same over here. But that was my motivation for working across to the border and then making sure this was right. So I had stuff to check over here. And so then I'll come up and then I'll have the roof to do that way. So that is that piece. It's really great. There's Accentuate with Surfing in the candy canes. And then she did not include in the kit, but she recommended Surfing and Accentuate for white in the snow at the top here. So I did not have Cardinal Kin then, because Cardinal Kin just came out in November, which came with white, Accentuate, and Surfing. So I had purchased some from, I don't remember if I got that one from, sorry, I just want to pick up these threads. I don't know if I got that kit from, or those flosses from, it was either Hoop and Frame or, oh my goodness, upstate New York cross stitch store that I order from fairly often, Hobby House. Either way, now my silks are all messed up, but this is like a photo storage case. They're usually a lot nicer looking than what they look like now that I've spilled them, but these work pretty well for storing your silks. And I think this one latch doesn't want to stay, which is probably why they broke open, but these are the silks. And so it's fun to have these and then add them to my stash and be able to do conversions and whatever with them. So I am really enjoying this piece, and the light of winter is calling to me now that I got that sommelier floss, but I do want to get more progress in on this. So basically it's a Brenda Gervais Christmas right now. Jacob and Brenda are my mainstays for Christmas. So that's really all I've been stitching on. It's only been a week. I've had a lot of countdown Advent focus, so there's just not as much to show as normal, but I do have a little bit of haul I wanted to show you. So I've mentioned Freckled Lindsay, I'm doing the 24 Advent. I belong to her, one of her floss clubs. She has several. This one is just like her generic floss club, so they tend to kind of follow the season. So like the summer ones are kind of bright. Fall, what we get in fall, we got a couple of like more fall-y colors. This one is not Christmas, not holiday, but it's pretty. I mean, it's if New Year's and Christmas had a baby, or New Year's or Hanukkah and Christmas had a baby, it would be this yarn. So it's really pretty. It's blues and then reds and greens and pink. So I kind of like associate the blues with Hanukkah and the reds and greens with Christmas. So it's really pretty with this mini hank to go with it. So it's 100 grams. This one, I love that she tells us. So it's called Meet Me Under the Mistletoe, and it's an 8-stripe repeat. So I love the ones that are not 6, because I feel like 6 is so common that when they're a little bit more, it's just a little more fun, a little more variety. And She just posted, I think it was yesterday on Instagram, that she's selling 20-gram skeins now, mini skeins. So I know I'm kind of excited about that because I'm assuming it'll be like with leftovers or extras or whatever. And for me, 20 grams with a contrasting toe and cuff will get me a shorty sock. So when you don't need a whole 100 grams, that's fun. Though I do like getting the 100 grams because then if I love it, I can have one for me, but I can also gift it. So now that I have a sock machine, I can like knit to my heart's content and hopefully never worry about having, well, right now I'm worried about having too much yarn, but once I get going on it. So this is like the normal Floss Club. I also just signed up for her holiday Floss Club. So the goal of this one is every month you'll get a holiday Christmas themed floss yarn for the whole year. And so it started December 1 and it'll go through December, and I'm assuming depending on how it goes, she'll do it again. So I got my first one of that this week too, and it's great. It's really fun. It's like if, let me see. It's like Grinch plus, I don't know what the other one would be. This is a 12 stripe repeat, which is really fun. It is called Dear Santa, I Can Explain. And so it's got like some like 2 tones of gray, pink, and then it's like red and like bright and dark green, which is where like the Grinch kind of came to my mind. But I'm really excited to see how this one knits up as well. So she does, like when she sells these socks, like the extras, after whatever amount of time it is, or if she redyes the colorway, she will show like a sock machine knit tube so you can see how the stripes look. But of course, at this point, we don't know. So I need to gauge swatch these on my knitting machine so that I know how to set my machine for them. And then I can just crank away. So plans for this week is of course continuing with my holiday countdown advent, my Erica Michaels countdown advent, the gnome, my advent socks that again I didn't show you, and then my last thing is my Nicole C. Mendez sock yarn advent week 2 yarn that I'm gonna open, and then the goal would be to have this done by the end of the weekend on my sock machine. I'm going to test swatch this one first, and then I think what I'm gonna do is I have had a cone of nylon, lycra that I want to test. I forgot to do it with the socks that I made last weekend, and then I didn't want to do it for my gift one because I didn't know how much of a headache it was going to be to work with, and I didn't want, if it didn't turn out, I didn't want to like be behind. I needed that gifted, ready to be gifted. So I think these ones will be my first test with nylon. And the idea with nylon is that as the yarn like stretches, the nylon will like make it stretch, the lycra will make it stretchier. I think it'll help it wear. It makes the socks feel a little bit cushier, like more padded, and when you wash them, the way the lycra is like twisted onto its strand will like pull the sock and make it like feel a little bit more. I mean, it's not going to feel like a store-bought sock because the stitches are still not the same, like nowhere near the same size. The yarn gauge is so different, but it like kind of helps it give that like springy feel, is my understanding. Anyways, this is the color for week 2. How fun is that? So it's like a bright, pumped up fluorescent Christmas. It's called Deck the Halls. So it'll be fun to see how it stitches up. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. I think this is a 4 stripe, unless that's split up. There are like, the pink is pretty tonal, so I can't tell if that's like tonal because they're 2 different sections or tonal because it's just tonal. So it'll be fun to see how these come to life. She does not write how many stripe repeats are on hers, so it'll be a mystery. But so here's week 1 and here's week 2. So not like traditional holiday, but just fun stripes to open and get cranked out. So yeah. Oh, I said this here too. I got a Jingle Ball ornament from the boardroom. Beth Twist's husband makes these. He's got like all these woodshop materials now and a wood laser burner thing, a Glowforge. And so I thought that was pretty fun to have as a memento. The only other thing that I bought some patterns from the Jingle Ball. The only other thing that I like have coming actually today is Hands On Designs set of ornaments. So they did like last year where they had like the ornament that's in the Bobble book, which I got the Bobble book, and then another set of 3 that come in a pattern. They're really cute. I love the colors. It's like this dark gray background again, or like charcoal. I think they're technically stitched on charcoal. I'm going to use grunge, I think, for them. And then they are like dirty bronzy colors and green and red. So I got the floss pack and the finishing kit. So I got the ornaments from last year from Hands On Design too, and I didn't get the finishing kit, which is basically like the circles. So I ended up buying 2 of those so that I would have them for both sets once I ever get around to stitching them. And then I discovered, or it dawned on me, and I asked Google the question and discovered that I can cut mat board with my Cricut. So I bought the right blade and mat board on Amazon. They'll be here either tonight or tomorrow, so that I can make my own shapes, because I am not a very straight cutter, either with an X-Acto knife or like a, what is it called? It's not an X-Acto knife, because the X-Acto knives are the ones that, a knife, like a blade knife. I can't think of what they're called right now. Or like scissors, like to cut a circle with scissors. I think the Cricut just makes a lot more sense. And then also, like if I buy a frame on Amazon, it doesn't come with backing that I can actually pin and like frame my piece on. So I think being able to like plug in the dimensions into my Cricut, or even just cutting them straight with a metal ruler, is fairly simple. But having mat board on hand will be really nice. So I ordered it in sizes that I think will be big enough for most of my finishes. But I did buy some 12 by 12 so they will fit on my Cricut mats and go through. So I'm excited to get those and have be ready to finish some stuff. So, all right, I have lots on my to-do list. My stockings are still not done from last week. I finished one band, which I think I showed you last week. The second one I haven't stitched on. I need to make myself do it. It's just because it's letters and it's like not super exciting, but I want them up and hung, and I'm going to be excited to have them. It's like I need to eat my vegetables, so I should do that today. Get this sock cranked out. I think that's what I'll do next, and get this video uploaded. I hope you're having a great December. Take care. Be well. The crud is floating around, at least my area in Michigan, so be safe. Wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer. Try to stay healthy, and I will see you back next week. Bye.